Evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sphons CCW Live Show. Obviously brought to you by Sphons CCW. Still doing a little behind-the-scenes stuff here, making sure the video feeds are getting going. So bear with us here for a second. There we go. All right. So what do we got coming up? Schedule. 5:30, basic rifle and carbine. We got spots open in that one. If you want to get in basic rifle and carbine, then get on our website and get signed up for that. You'll need 100, 150 rounds of ammo. 22 is fine if you have a 22. AR, hunting rifle, basic rifle and carbine is kind of a do-all, learn about rifles class. 6.6, the next concealed carry class coming up. Wow, we're working on June already. Holy cow.
Yeah. Saturday, Sunday.
Seems like this year's just flying by. 6.6 CCW, 6.14 CCW class.
6th is the Saturday, 14th is the Sunday.
7.11 personal protection in the home. If you have a little bit of shooting experience, can handle your gun safely, are not an absolute beginner, you can use that for concealed carry if you would like to. You can get signed up for that. That was 150 rounds of ammo. We're going to do some different stuff rather than just a basic pistol class. 7.25 concealed carry class. 8.1, so August 1st, we got reloading. And then 8.8 is going to be pistol fundamentals, where you're going to go through draw stroke, target engagements, accuracy drills, reloads, tack, and emergency reloads. So fun class, 250 rounds of ammo for that one. We got slots open for that. So if you want to get in on that, get on the website and get signed up.
Yeah, if you want to get on a class, any of these classes or any of the classes that we have coming up after that, please do so as quickly as you can, because they are just filling up very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah, we got a full weekend this weekend, and then a break next weekend, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we got anything going on next weekend. But then it starts back into the rotation, pretty heavy throughout the summer. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff going on. There's a lot of new folks got new firearms these last few months, and
want to learn how to use them.
Yeah, they want to learn how to use them, so which is a good thing. I mean, getting proper training and learning things the right way the first time, and you don't have to go back and fix problems or mistakes later on. So
yeah, we just got done with a defensive pistol 2 day last weekend, and both of the students that we had there were exceptional.
Yes,
they listened and learned a lot, and
there was a couple of people that missed out on it that were supposed to be there.
They were supposed to be there.
Yep.
And well, we got another one of those coming up in September, I think, don't we?
Yeah, I think September is going to be the next one of the 2 day defensive pistols.
Right.
So, some cool stuff coming up. Like he says, if you want to get in on a class, or if you know somebody that wants to get in on a class, don't wait.
You won't have a spot if you wait.
They're filling up.
Won't.
We're scheduling into the middle of June right now. Actually, we have participants in the 7-11 class, so they are filling up a couple months out. So, if you know somebody that wants to get in on something like that, then have them get on the website and get their spot. Um, and like always, if something comes up, we can move you. It's not that big of a deal, but get your spot before the thing gets filled up. We have people that want to get in this weekend, and we just can't accommodate them because we only physically have so much room. So get your spots and get it done. What do we got for range tip? Setting goals, and then when you reach the goal, find a better goal and set another one. Um, if you're having trouble reaching your goals, get help with whatever issues you're having. Um, we see a lot of times fundamental issues with especially pistol shooting, and it's just something that's been glassed over and kind of corrected for on a personal basis for a long time, and the person didn't know how to fix it. So they never actually had somebody to tell them, if you fix this one issue, then you're going to hit your target, your draw speed's going to improve, accuracy will improve. And
they may not even know they're doing it wrong.
And that's another one. A lot of times, folks, they and not to say that it's a wrong thing or anything like that, but mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever it might be, buddy, cousin, uncle, kind of got them into the sport, and they had some bad habits or were doing some things that weren't quite correct or could be improved on, and they didn't know any different. So it just kind of translates down the line. So, set some goals. Find something that you want to accomplish with this. A lot of times we'll see folks at the range and, they're there to have fun, but we also see folks at the range that are
frustrated
and quote unquote, they're training for something or they're trying to improve their skills, but yet they're in one spot. They're not really doing anything to improve their skills. They haven't figured out, a drill, a procedure, or even really set any goals. Like I want to hit this target at a certain distance. There isn't anything there for them to strive for. So they think that by just doing the same thing over and over again, they're somehow going to get better at it. And
well, I guess what we see the most of is people who do exactly like you're saying is they practice and practice and practice doing the same thing over and over again and never move to a different location or target or turn the target so it's harder to see or challenge themselves either, and or they don't know anything about shooting drills or where to access them. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube, but some of it's not so great. But so you don't know whether the guy on YouTube is doing it right or not. So you're better off, if you can, to go somewhere, a training company, and check out their credentials and maybe even go and watch a class that they're doing. Whether you want to do it or not. Can I just watch this for a little bit and ask questions? Ask questions. That if someone is a professional in this business, they will answer your questions and guide you in the right direction.
certainly,
Yeah, and if especially money permitting, if you find yourself in one of them, what we kind of training lulls, kind of hit a dead spot. Okay, I'm not improving. What do I need to do? Get training.
Yeah.
Don't let that fear of being able to, of you saying, well, this is, like you said, with setting the goals. You set that goal and you're like, man, I'm having a tough time with this. So seek out an instructor that, that has good credentials, that can show you the right way and to help you accomplish that goal. And don't let the fear of, well, what if I go there and there's, people are way better, or I'm this or this or this. Don't let that fear of going to a training class and, let that intimidate you. You
I
know,
don't
take
want
that
to
as
look
a
stupid.
learning learning experience. You know, you are going to find them people at the at some of the training classes that you're like, man, he's like some of the gear snobs and stuff like that. Don't worry about any of that.
No.
You're setting a goal for yourself and doing something to accomplish for yourself, not for them. And
absolutely.
So you go, seek out that training, and don't let that be a hindrance to you of that fear and intimidation of doing some of that, and even some of that stuff as far as even getting into some IDPA and USPSA competitions, because I know when we were doing it, a lot of the people that we met there was just some of the best and nicest people that
Right.
Certainly.
They'd come up to you and hey, I noticed you were doing this, and if you do it, if you do this just a little bit, it'll shave all this time off there. So, what if I beat you? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Those type of people. Like, well, if I help you and you actually beat me, then I actually feel good about doing that.
Yeah.
Those types of people.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, word of mouth and references make a big difference. I'm not a super internet fancy person. I don't really like a lot of Google reviews and stuff like that, just because I've seen where you can leave a Google review, you can leave a Facebook review, you can leave pretty much any review on the internet that you want to, and never actually visit that particular person in
or
whatever
find out
business.
anything about them.
Well, certainly. So, I really like the word of mouth. Have you been there? Do you have experience with this particular person?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I mean, we've all been to a bunch of different training classes, and some of them good, some of them not so good. So we've seen that experience, and when you have a good reference from somebody, then you can act on that, and it makes life a lot easier to deal with that kind of stuff. The other thing you mentioned with we do see a lot of folks. They're concerned, can I accomplish this training class? Am I good enough? Stuff like, you got to remember, you're there to learn something. You're not there to teach the friggin' thing. And if the guy teaching it, if you haven't got a reference, if you don't know anything about the person, anything like that, and you get there and it's, a total crock of crap, then ask for a refund and go somewhere else. I mean, some people get a little confrontational with that, but I mean, I think it's happened to all of us where we've bought a product that we weren't completely satisfied with. It's a lot harder in the learning world when you don't really have a basis to make a decision on, is this good curriculum or is it not good curriculum? And there's going to be a point in your life when you're going to be able to make that honest decision. Is this good curriculum? Is it not good curriculum? And from our end of it, I've been to a couple really crappy training classes, and the thing about it is, there's times where I didn't learn as much on the curriculum as I wanted to, or the curriculum being presented wasn't the greatest, wasn't right at all. But I learned literally how not to do something. Yeah. So there's always something there for everybody to absorb. And
that's kind of why we go to, first off, we're always continually trying to, improve our skill and improve our knowledge base so that we can, bring that information, essentially down the pipeline.
Yeah.
And we continue to, we go to training classes from all different people with all different backgrounds and different walks of life, not only to see us being instructors, not only to see their style of instruction, because different instructors connect with different people, and there's a lot that you can, when you're looking for stuff like that, there's a lot you can learn on that, and it also will help you. Some instructors you may connect with you better than others, but you can there's a lot of information there that you can learn. You go to multiple instructors, you kind of get some of their experiences too added in there that might have a little bit of insight, and it helps you along. And then, like he said, down the line, you can start to be able to pick out, like, this was good stuff. This was, this wasn't good. And you can start to learn and say, well, this instructor had a lot of good information on this that works for me, but this type of information for my situation or whatever's going on doesn't work for me. But then, you take a different training class, you come to us, you come to go to a different, instructor, and you go, well, the way that this part of this guy's class, like, that really works for me, but this part doesn't. So,
yeah. All different kinds of experience.
All different kinds of experiences and stuff like that. So it's,
So your carry tip, this goes right along with your goal setting on the flat range, because we want to take our flat range work and apply it to real life. So when we're going to do a carry tip, make your goal something that's usable, right? Use a realistic scenario or a situation or a place or a thing or something. From, parking your car on the range and pretend you're pumping gas and turn and engage a target. It's that simple if you can do that. There's a ton of different things. We do a lot of flat range work, movement side to side, forward, back. It works a lot better to establish that learning when you apply it to something in a situation or scenario.
If more familiar to
it is more familiar, and your brain retains that more, and it applies. What you're literally doing is you're learning a skill and then you're applying that skill. So if you need to work on your rearward movement, then set a target up, put some stuff in the way, and move around it on the way backwards. If you want to work on your one-handed skills and you seem to you're always going back for that offhand, grab a duffel bag and throw some towels in it and put a duffel bag in your hand like you're coming out of the grocery store, and you apply that one-handed presentation to that particular situation, and that helps it stick in your brain on this situation. I have something in my offhand, now I need to apply this.
your brain's going, hey, I've done that.
Yeah, I've done that before.
I've even seen instructors and stuff like that buy like cheap baby dolls so that people really connect with that stuff. Like, they start to, this is like an actual baby, and they and that's the goal that the instructor is going for, is for you to instead of your mindset when you're at the range of I'm shooting paper target, that your mindset on the range is using your essentially your imagination of, this is my situation I'm in. And they sometimes range props can actually start to essentially let your brain switch into that situation and think about it, and it'll actually start ramping your stress up a little bit, which is a good thing. So you get in those situations and scenarios, and if you can use some safely use a few props,
Yeah, props are great.
So
cars, whatever it might be. Phone's ringing off the hook.
Well, you said,
move that light back.
On the
This is Rob from CCW.
the flat range, talk about scenarios, skills, how you go from the flat range. I heard this as a reference one time, it's that if you ever played sports, it's no different. If you have a football team, you don't just throw them out on a football field and say, well, run this play. They take the quarterback over and they go have him throw 8,000 passes on the same route. Just throw it. And then every individual person works on them skills, and then when they come together, they put those skills into practice. This guy runs this route, the quarterback throws the ball.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing. Putting skills into practice. So one of the skills that we talk about on a regular basis is what we like to call the most overused term in the world, situational awareness. And it's really hard to establish this. Like, what are we talking about when we're talking situational awareness? Because it's all subjective. I mean, I had somebody walk up behind me on the range when I was talking to another person while I was wearing my hearing protection, and there was guns going off, and they told me, "Hey, you need to be more aware of your surroundings." Well, I've already seen you in the area. I've trusted you. You're behind me. You came from the line. There's two other instructors. I mean, it's all contextual. So really what we want to do is we want to use our situational awareness to find things that are out of the ordinary. So we got a good video. This is from Concealed Nation. And let me see if I can get this up. And it was a Facebook video, and it was a pretty good video. I want to try and make this a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see the whole thing. So here we go. So this is pretty cool. Obviously, we can see a bear. And the bear, he doesn't seem to be too bothered by this. But let's check this out. So here comes Mr. Bear plodding along. Who knows what he's looking for? And then here comes Mr. and Mrs. whoever. I want you to notice he is looking directly at the bear. She's already walked by it, is standing next to the pillar, and he is literally looking at the bear. But he's not paying attention to anything he's doing but fiddling with his keys. So he fiddles with his keys a little bit more, locks his front door, turns around, looks at the bear again, and then walks away. And then here comes Mr. Bear. Like, "Hey, boo-boo, I found a picnic basket."
He looks around the corner like... The bear has almost this look and expression on his face when he's coming around that corner like, "You didn't see me?"
I know.
Like, I know. It's like, "I'm a bear."
Yeah.
I'm a bear. Like, he's telling them, like, "I'm a bear."
Like, hello. Like, if you probably would have stood up and said, "Hey, boo," right? I don't know. But, I mean, this is an old video. You can see the date on it, 1/21/2014. And it's been around the internet, I'm sure, a couple times. But it highlights what we're getting at. To recognize the out of the ordinary. The situational awareness isn't about recognizing the ordinary. It's about recognizing the non-ordinary stuff that interjects it into your life. The guy that shouldn't be there. The person with his hand on his waistband holding his pants up because a pistol's pulling him down.
Yeah.
The four gangbangers who are coming across the parking lot and flay out because you look like a target. That's the stuff we're talking about. Not the obvious stuff that happens in everyday life. Now, there's obvious stuff that we can look back on and say, hey, it's an issue, and we don't want to be completely oblivious to that stuff, but it's about the stuff that doesn't fit. Because if you look at almost every attack, every crime that's committed, everything like that, there is a key point in there. Something doesn't fit from the perspective of the victim.
Well, like, yeah. You know, me and my wife, we were at Sam's Club, and there was a guy, younger guy, walking around. He was on his phone, and it was nice out, so I had my window was cracked. So he was on his phone, wandering around the parking lot, looking at cars, but not talking at all. And he, like, somebody wheel into a parking spot and get out of their car, and all of a sudden, that was where he was. And you'd see another one do that, and that was where he was. And we sat there and started, like, what's this guy?
Yeah.
Something's off with this. So, my wife, she wheels her phone out and like, click, takes a snapshot of the guy.
Yeah, right?
He figured that. He caught that.
Yeah.
And he that was what
more
triggered,
situationally aware than most of the other people.
that was what triggered him to realize that somebody has noticed that something is off enough to take a picture, and he vanished from that parking lot.
Which essentially tells everybody in the world that knows anything. He was up to something that was nefarious.
And
Either he was bugging money off somebody, he was looking for dope or something.
what
like
it
that.
looked like what it looked like we was doing, I think, was when people would pull in and they were getting out of their car, he would stay close enough to find out if they locked their doors.
Yeah.
Is what it looked like he was doing.
Pull on the handle.
Just wait. If he knew they didn't lock their doors, he'd just go over and just
Probably
pull the handle and
just root around in their
root
glove
around
box
in their
for change
car,
or
and, you know,
something.
Yeah.
change. I mean, spent years working on cars, you know, getting lease turn-ins and repos and stuff like that. Got to inspect them for the the state and banks and all kinds of stuff like that. And the amount of money you find in cars just laying around. I pulled a door panel off a car, found $62 in quarters.
Yeah. I mean, it just
So they
that kind of stuff.
That's something that
And interjected in somebody who is what that person doesn't feel is a hardened target or a hardened victim. Now we're leading into a crime of opportunity, and there's things that go along with that. So, bears, watch out for bears.
And you don't know. Here we are in little old Minerva, and they had one go through the park a couple of years ago. When kids were young, so.
That look on that bear's face, like I can see it. Say, like,
what?
I'm a bear.
Yeah. I know.
It's like, really?
You missed a bear.
See me?
I mean,
like,
here's the thing. When these two folks see this video pop up on the internet, do they go, "Oh crap," or like, are they going to the eye doctor to have their glasses checked, or what's the thing behind these two folks that see their selves show up on the internet? Like,
they get a Facebook post from the neighbor, and it's a video of their house with a bear.
Oops, right?
Yep.
That's a sinking feeling. All right, so we got this gentleman here. Where'd I get this? LEO Affairs. Ohio man planned to ambush park rangers, steal weapons, and start an armed revolution. Well, he's apparently in the Summit County Jail. So I don't know what this guy's gig was, but he was a 20-year-old Cleveland man in federal custody. Authorities say he planned to place a fake 911 call in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park to ambush the park rangers who responded, steal their weapons, and start an armed uprising, according to prosecutors. Don't you normally start an armed uprising before you call the cops on yourself?
That would be my thought.
This guy, who authorities believe was trying to form a militia, is charged with attempted kidnapping. He's been in custody since May 8th and made his initial appearance Tuesday before U.S. Magistrate Judge Kathleen B. Burke. The Cleveland FBI became aware of Ferguson in March after a tipster informed them about violent and extremist social media postings Ferguson made on Discord, a communication app that allows users to communicate directly or in groups via text message, voice, or video, according to the release. The app became an essential communication tool for far-right groups and white supremacists. I've never heard of it. I don't know what it is. Including the run-up to the deadly 2017 rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. What rally are they talking about that was deadly in Charlottesville?
They got run over with
okay.
Antifa and
yeah, everybody got in a fight. Yeah. All right, I remember that one. In the messages, according to the complaint filed Tuesday by an FBI agent, Ferguson discussed his plan to ambush cops and said to shoot to kill because they will, and discussed ripping communication gear from cars. Too risky to take the cruisers, so throw the bodies in and light them up, he wrote. Boy, this guy's a real crackpot. Mm-hmm. An apparent reference putting dead officers in their police cars and setting them on fire to destroy the evidence. Ferguson posted a message under the username that the complaint does not disclose due to ongoing investigation. Obviously, investigators tied the screen name to Ferguson in part because police stopped him in 2019 outside Valparaiso, Indiana, in a car that had a vanity license plate number that matched the name. Why was he clear out in Valparaiso? He fled the traffic stop and led police on a chase that ended in a crash and his arrest. If you're trying to overthrow the government, you're not really going to want to draw attention to yourself, especially with a vanity license plate.
Yeah.
He faced felony charges, obviously. FBI sent a confidential human source to join Discord chat rooms and communicate with Ferguson. The complaint said, in the weeks that followed, Ferguson honed the details of his plan, included using women to call the police and report domestic violence incident in the area. He said the attackers should clean off their bullets to remove fingerprints from the casing and discussed throwing ammonia and bleach at the police. When you shoot, go for the arms and legs, but if they pose a lethal threat, go for the head, he wrote. Ferguson referenced the 75 Spartans, which investigators believe is the name of the militia that Ferguson either had formed or was in the process of creating to carry out the attack. Ferguson, in another message, referenced leaving a calling card with the Spartans' name at the scene of a first small claim with the cops, the complaint said. Once the media gets a hold of the card, will spread like wildfire and other militias will get up, the complaint said. The appropriation of Spartan imagery is commonplace among many alt-right groups, including the Oath Keepers militia, which in 2018 created so-called Spartan training groups to combat Antifa and the far left. Ferguson and the confidential informant also communicated with another Discord user whose identity FBI agent said is known but is not disclosed. Ferguson suggested using homemade mustard gas and pipe bombs during the attack. Said the group would need money from a sponsor before they could buy high-grade military-style ammunition because he barely has enough money to buy a pistol. I don't know what this guy's on, but it's got to be good stuff. Ferguson also discussed using the attack to recruit members of his militia. He said killing police officers and letting one live with our calling card may be necessary. We're still building numbers, but this will get patriots and future Spartans interested, he wrote. 2 FBI sources in Ferguson agreed to meet up on May 2nd at Camp Belden Wildlife Area in Lorraine to practice drills and exercise to prepare for the attack. According to the complaint, Ferguson brought an AR-15 ammunition. He was recorded by one of the FBI informants on video camera, the complaint said. The group agreed to meet again on May 8th, Cuyahoga Valley National Park, carry out a dry run, and hiked into the woods to discuss the plan, according to the complaint. The informant wore an audio recording device that captured the conversation. Ferguson said that once the officers responded and his militia ambushes them, they give police 10 seconds to drop their weapons, the complaint said. Once they dropped the weapons, the militia members would point guns at each officer's head while they take their gear, starting with the bulletproof vests. Now, there's a huge flaw in this whole plan. He doesn't have a gun to begin with.
Well, they said he brought a freaking AR-15.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He brought an AR, but the thing is, so he's got 2 or 3 guys, and he's going to just point, like, they're not going to give up that easy. It's not like, hey,
Yeah.
It's not the OK Corral, for Pete's sake.
2 or 3 cops there, and you're going to point one gun at them, and they're going to just...
The group then placed a hoax 911 call as they hid behind tree stumps to gauge the response time, the complaint said. 4 park rangers showed up and left after a few minutes of looking around. The group walked back to their cars. Ferguson said that if that many officers were to respond to the ambush, then they would have to kill them all, the complaint said. FBI agents and park rangers then arrested Ferguson. Ferguson admitted to investigators after his arrest that he was planning the attack to kidnap and rob police, but denied ever wanting to kill them. He eventually said that he would be willing to kill the officers if he had to, the complaint said. That guy's a real crackpot. I'm kind of glad they got a hold of him.
Yeah.
He's a whole 20 years old. Yeah, he knows a lot.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, he go in the federal pen.
Oh, yeah. He's
Frickin'
Yeah, that's not...
national park.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
All right, so...
You have a big house.
No, this is not a satire article. A Dayton commission bans wearing masks while committing crimes.
This goes right along in the same theory that the sign on the door that says you can't have a gun in here will stop people from... stop criminals from bringing them in.
Yep. I do have some concerns about this ordinance, though. Dayton City Commission passed an ordinance Wednesday that prohibits the concealment of one's identity in public in some instances. Well, first off, they're telling you to wear a mask. The ordinance will make wearing a mask in public while committing a crime or to intimidate another person illegal. This is the problem I have with it. To intimidate another person. Intimidation is subjective. If I'm there and I have my mask on and my sunglasses and I walk up to somebody and they say they're intimidated by me, what is stopping a charge at that point? That's my problem. Clear laws need to be clear and concise, and either we can challenge them in court and bring them to constitutional muster or not. This seems way too subjective. Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley said legislation would be introduced when the group announced its intention to rally in Dayton. And if we go further on in the article, Whaley made those comments after the KKK-affiliated group filed an application to return to Dayton after rallying on Courthouse Square in 2019. The application was denied by the Montgomery County Board of County Commissioners last week. As much problems as I have with the KKK, they are actually allowed to have a rally. They're not allowed to hurt anybody, but they're allowed to spew their garbage all over the place.
They are still American citizens.
Yeah, constitutionally, you can't stop them. Are they a hate group? Absolutely. Do they have freedom of speech? Just like you and me. The ordinance on the agenda Wednesday described as enacting Section 137.22 of the revised Code of General Ordinances prohibiting the concealing of one's identity during the commission of a crime or to intimidate another and declaring an emergency. The issue I have with this is, okay, so you have an open carry rally in Dayton and somebody's wearing a mask. Somebody can come up and say he intimidated him.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the same thing. It's just used in two different, pointed at two different peoples, I guess.
And two different people could have two different opinions if they're standing right next to each other.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, he intimidated me. No, I didn't. I wasn't intimidated. So who makes that call?
Well, here's the thing. City Commission will hold first and second readings on the measure Wednesday and declare an emergency in an effort to enact the ordinance as soon as possible.
Yeah.
They will attend a City Commission meeting, and you can watch it live when the meeting begins at 8:30. So I would actually like to see if I can tune in on that and maybe provide some commentary. They'll probably won't let me, but whatever. All right. A Prairie County men hold escaped murder suspect at gunpoint. With what's going on in the news with the gentleman runner last week, probably not a good idea unless you can absolutely, positively, 100% identify doing something like this, because you may make a mistake. But these folks accomplished it. An escaped murderer was captured Friday morning thanks to two armed Prairie County citizens. Agencies all over eastern Arkansas fled to Des Arc Thursday night after Earl Parks escaped the Prairie County Jail alongside federal inmate Craig Gilliam. They attacked two guards and stole their keys. Gilliam was captured no more than 10 minutes later, but Parks was on the run for more than 8 hours. It's a big deal. I put in a phone call. I had people falling out of the sky to get here to help me, said Prairie County Sheriff Rick Hickman. It wasn't a law enforcement officer who captured Parks, but a regular citizen with a gun. Brad Knupp was just getting to work when he noticed something was off about the old car he's fixing up, he said. Something didn't look normal to me in the back seat. I looked a little closer and I could tell that this guy was laying down in the back seat of my car. Once he realized it was Parks, Knapp and his father held him at gunpoint until he was taken into custody. We were yelling pretty loud at him. He came out of the car slowly, said Knupp. It's something he would do all over again if he had to, saying, I just felt like I did what I needed to do to get him out of the car and hold him there until law enforcement could get there. Sheriff Hickman wasn't at all surprised that two of his citizens stepped up to help. He said, it's just a good little county. I knew they would help, and anybody who saw him would have called us or done the same thing. Jumped out with their gun and held him if they could have. Parks was in jail on capital murder charge for the death of his girlfriend, Christy Rooks, who remains were found this past January. So apparently he murdered her and then tried to hide her. The 2 guards that were attacked by Parks and Gilliam did not sustain serious injuries and are recovering. The 2 guards who were attacked by Parks and Gilliam, wow, double sentence. Wow. So, good news. They got the dude. Very, very much caution attempting to do something like that.
Yes.
So, don't get yourself into trouble. So, we got a 19-year-old accused of shooting up a home twice, charged with 7 counts of attempted murder. My question is, how did he get the opportunity to shoot it up twice? He was charged with 7 counts of attempted murder after shooting the house twice within a week. This dude, Byron Walker, drove by a home on the 5600 block of Myers, leaned out the window and began shooting. 5 people were inside the house. 6 days later, police responded to the same house after the 19-year-old reportedly returned and opened fire on 2 people standing outside. No one was hurt in either shooting. Authorities told WREG's Melissa Moon they believe the shootings were connected to the recent shooting death of rival gang member and said Walker is a person of interest in that case. However, no charges have been filed as of Friday. Walker's been arrested 4 times since October, but 2 of the cases were dismissed. He was out on bond at the time of the most recent shootings.
Yeah, gang related.
Gangbanger.
Gang related.
Gang related. He's probably an up and comer, so he's trying to.
People, places, and things.
Some of the most violent members of the gangs are the ones that are trying to get in.
Yep.
And trying to get
initiation
and get in good with the high level guys, and they're the ones that'll do and to them if that's their main goal in life is to be part of this gang because that's what I want to do, they're willing to spend the time in prison because it just makes them look better to the gang.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
those are the people those are the very dangerous people.
Certainly. Stay away from gang members. Nothing but trouble. Absolutely nothing but trouble. So, what we got? Some products of the week. Got a lot of new gun owners out there. Got a lot of new guns sold in the last couple months. And we've been noticing a lot more brass laying on the ground at the range. And some of it's from us, but a lot more than just from us.
Tonight we got a rifle and handgun range cleaning kit. Comes in this nice, say corduroy bag, something like that.
Yeah, Molly.
Sure, but it's nice. It's a decent zipper on it. Bunch of stuff inside it. All set up for cleaning your rifle or your pistol. Actually got brushes in here.
AR-15, I think.
AR-15 brush. Yeah, that's an AR-15 brush right there. You can see it.
Star chamber brush.
Right. And that's pretty good to have on hand. It's the same thing.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, 2 of them. Yep. AR-15 brushes. Those come in handy.
Kind of all your cleaning jags. And
yeah, these are all
things.
Pistol brushes, small caliber rifle brushes, and we got jags in here of all different sizes for patches and goes on a regular. That's a pretty big thread so it's a pretty good sized cleaning rod anyway.
Yeah.
And on the other side, a small brush, double-ended brush. These work good for brushing stuff off. I don't know why we want a makeup brush in there, but whatever. You need to look good on the range. That's probably handy. All the rods are in there.
I think this comes right out here.
Does it? Oh, come on.
Yep.
And it's got a bore snake too.
All your rods.
Boar snake.
And rods and set of picks.
All your picks.
Yeah,
All your picks are in here.
Here's a handle for the rods. That comes in pretty handy too.
And this is a pretty good quality cleaning kit. I mean, it's got some nice stuff in it. It is a little expensive. I think it's
got heavy.
30-some bucks.
Let me see them jags. The jags and the brushes.
The jags are
brass.
They're all brass jags.
Yeah, those are good
so,
quality there.
It's got some nice stuff in there.
right?
Yeah, them are all,
And the
brass jags.
bore snake's all cable and brass. So, it's coated cable, so it won't scratch the bore of your gun. And, but
I think you need to get me one of these.
yeah,
That's kind of nice.
bronze brushes with brass ends. That's good quality there. You never want to use steel because steel will take the crown off your barrel and scratch your rifling all up. Maybe take it out. Always use bronze or brass.
Put that stuff back in there.
Yeah.
I'll let you put it back in.
Yeah.
Right on the, cleaning and maintenance side. Some stuff we've been trying out for a while. We use this stuff in this brand in the automotive world. They make some gun oils. Is some Lucas stuff. This seems to be really good stuff. There's a lot of what I would say high performance gun oils and greases that the viscosity, which is the thickness of the oil, seems a little bit too heavy, and you don't really run into issues until it gets cold outside. And
Let's see, I've got some of the Lucas. It's actually it's green and more of a green in color, and I guess they call that their heavy duty line. And it's a little thicker a little bit on the thicker side as far as viscosity for gun oil. And I've been running that for a couple years now. A little bottle goes a long way with this stuff, and it's done quite well. It seems to the viscosity the viscosity it stays hot or cold.
Well,
it's almost like a multi-weight oil.
That's the part about it is a lot of the stuff that's thick at room temperature gets even thicker.
Yeah.
When it gets cold.
When it gets cold, so you want to find something that doesn't do that. And this Lucas stuff is really good stuff. It stays super slick. And it seems to keep the gunk and garbage out of there. Internals. I tell a lot of folks this thing of gun oil should last a long time if you're properly maintaining your gun. It doesn't need to be swimming in oil. And then the other thing that we found works really well, whether you're a sportsman, fisherman, shooter or not, is these, and they're relatively cheap. There's a couple bucks for this.
I think you're $4 or something like that, but it's not overly expensive.
The thing, it leaves like a silicone film on the metal surfaces.
Yeah, it's just like almost like just like this slickness.
Yeah, and it's not oily or anything like that. Once a gun sits a day or two, it doesn't really transfer, but it doesn't make the plastic get nasty or dissolve or anything like that. But what it will do is it just shines everything up, and the water beads off in a lot of different surfaces. So I've been using one of these for, several years. And these things, as long as you take care of them, they last for quite a while. You'd be surprised at how long something like this will last. But it helps with moisture, especially this time of year when it's rainy and the temps are up and down and different things like that. So just wiping the outside of the gun off, and even some of the non-lubricating places and parts that you may want to barricade against rust, this stuff works good. I know they make a disposable cloth, same idea. If you don't want to continually have to deal with a cloth, they call it a barricade gun wipe.
Remington makes something like that too.
Remington makes something like it. You don't necessarily have to have this brand, but something like this.
I keep one of them in my range bag, and I actually keep one in my. I usually just keep it in my truck, and like between going to the range, we kind of have this thing. We like to joke: if it ain't raining, you ain't training. So stuff gets wet. It's nice. You can kind of break everything down, give it a nice wipe down, get all the it'll help kind of push all that water right off of it and get your stuff dried out before you dump it back in a range bag, and not only risk rust but soaking everything else in your range bag. And I like to keep one in my truck a lot of times for like hunting season.
Yeah.
You know, you sit outside in a, you know, they decide it's going to snow that day. You sit outside all day in the snow, and you know, whether it's your bow or your, you know, your rifle or whatever you're using, you can kind of, you know, you can give it a nice wipe down. They work pretty decent on glass. I don't really notice a film that they can't see through on glass. So it's, you know, you can kind of give that stuff a wipe down, and it'll help kind of bead some of that moisture off of the glass too. So
they work out pretty good.
I need to get back in
I'll put that back there for you.
Anyway, last thing, we found these. These are pretty cool. Winchester 12 gauge 9 pellet double aught buck in a wooden box, commemorative issue for the, you know, it says it for the 1897 trench gun, specially designed, and they're kind of retro. Slide top box, of course, limited edition. They're kind of expensive, $30.
yeah,
But
5 double aught buck shells.
that's pretty expensive. But the shells themselves are what that really surprised us. I haven't seen any of these in a long time. But I'm gonna check this out. They are solid brass all the way from the case head clear up to the end, and they are really cool. And they're saying they're traveling about 1,200 feet a second, which is
Pretty good for a
good
double
clip. You
Pretty
know?
good for a double aught
But
buck. Double aught buck is
Yeah.
9 36 caliber pellets, lead balls flying at you. So
Right. Yeah.
essentially 9 30-06 or 9 38 special rounds coming at you at 38 special velocities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
And I guess this is probably what they used in World War II. You know, under battlefield conditions, that would be what you'd want, brass. You know,
Yeah.
especially if you're in a jungle someplace in the Pacific. But like I say, they're really expensive. But I think I want to get one just to have it. I don't know if I'll ever shoot them.
Yeah.
But,
Commemorative box.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Inside
kind of
out.
neat little, if you got, your man cave set up, or
Right.
got a reloading room or something like that. It's something kind of cool to just set on the shelf, just to
show your buddies. Wow,
show your
look at
buddies
this cool stuff. You know?
Yeah, like neat talking piece to.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you need to have stuff just to
Just to show people.
show people and
Show and tell,
shoot your shit out about.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Well, that's what we got for you tonight, guys. Hopefully everybody has a good weekend. We'll be here most of the weekend and teaching classes like we normally do. Stay safe. Keep your head on a swivel. Thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight. Could have been a lot of other places, but you were here with us and listening to our banter. So everybody have a good weekend, and
Watch out for bears.
Watch out for bears, and we'll see you next week.